Hello, everybody. How are you guys doing this fine afternoon?
Doing pretty good. Just recovering a little bit from that law school and Vintersea Tour marathon, but I'm glad to be back here with you guys.
Welcome back. We missed you last week when we had our discussion. I mean, it's always fun to discuss some hoops, but either way, it was fun.
We
But glad to have the whole group back together here.
we did have the live show on Tuesday, which almost 500 people ended up watching. I don't know if you guys saw that, but it kind of blew up, I didn't even
Awesome.
see. I didn't even see that till today, but people actually watched it. That's pretty cool. Right now, I got the countdown to the game going on 9 minutes, 15 seconds until game four of the Western Conference Finals.
Are they
That's been
putting them away tonight?
man, I don't know. It seems like LeBron and the Lakers, they got pride and they don't want to get swept, but Denver, I think it's on Denver. I think that they could do it if they really wanted to tonight. And I kind of think I think there's a good shot they will.
They said they wanted to give them no hope. That was the quote out of Denver. Give LA no hope. And yeah, I mean that's smart because you don't want to give, two all-time great players any hope at all. You don't want to give them even one. No one's come back from 3-0. I don't see it happening, but you want to sweep if you can.
Yeah, I think that the Lakers actually will get this game, just because LeBron, as long as he's out there, he's not going to want this sweep on his resume. And I just think that they'll come out and get a very close win. I think it'll be very, very close. And then the series will end up a gentleman's sweep back in Denver because there's no way I don't think LA can come into Denver and win a game. So yeah, that's my prediction. I could see it being a sweep easily, but I think LA will take this one game.
It's kind of funny looking at our the retention for that video, the where we went live. Usually it's just, pretty much a steep or not steep, but a curve downwards across the whole video. This one, it's like there's like a mountain peak right in the middle of it, right where you see our reaction to the Blazers not getting the pick. It's like so at like minute okay, so at like minute 2.5, there's a 12% retention. At minute like 7, there's a 32%, and then at minute 13, there's a 56%. So people like went right to the spot
People
were
want to see.
where
People
we were
want to see.
devastated for not getting
Hey,
with comma.
moving up was a good outcome. And regardless of
B
not getting
Roy,
one, B Roy did it again. He moved us
B
up in
Roy's
the
fighting.
lottery. Blazer fans, we can't be as ecstatic as we would be if we got number one, but number three is a good pick for multiple reasons. Different ways you could treat it. Let me just say that before we dive too far in. Draft or trade. It has a lot of value either way.
Yeah, Brandon Miller seems like the probable guy that will get with that spot. You never know though. Maybe we'll end up with Scoot or one of the Thompson twins or something like that. But either way, I mean, from the reports that I've read on Miller, they're saying, he's a starter ready forward, which is, more than we got last year. I mean, Shaden obviously has the high ceiling, but he wasn't really ready to come in and be an immediate starter, make an immediate impact. So maybe that'll keep Dame enticed enough to not, demand them to trade it if we can't get a good package centered around that number 3 pick. I guess we'll see though. It's going to be a big summer for Cronenberg and the boys up in the front office there in Portland.
Yeah, I mean, it's really it seems to make the most sense if we can for the Blazers to go after Miller. The problem is that we don't have the second pick. We have the third, and so it's not really up to us, unless we like tried to somehow trade up into that second pick or something. But it's very possible that someone else could take Brandon Miller with the 2 and we'd be left with, Scoot
Scoot.
as really our only option.
Okay. Scoot would be the number one draft pick in a lot of drafts. So Scoot sitting there, if there wasn't a generational prospect, Scoot would be going number one. I don't think you can pass up on like a number one draft pick player if they fall your way. However, other teams know that pick will skyrocket in value if Scoot is on the board over Brandon Miller, because as good as I think Brandon Miller is going to be, because I actually think people are starting to underrate Brandon Miller. He's going to be good right out the gate. Scoot is even, viewed higher among most NBA people out there. So the Blazers, if Brandon Miller's there, you can just draft him and plug him in day one. He's 6'9" and he can shoot the lights out of it. He can shoot 28 footers off the dribble. He was in college.
Miller, is that who you're talking about?
Yeah, Miller. Miller's a good defender, a good assist guy. He gets a lot of rebounds, which the Blazers really need with Grant not being a good rebounder. So Miller would come in day one. I mean, Miller over Cam Reddish, like that is such a huge upgrade already. I know Blazers are looking to upgrade small forward, but Miller would be awesome. However,
are you calling him a sharpshooter?
Yeah, him and it's funny, Sharp right there. Sharp is a sharpshooter too.
That would be the 1-2 punch, sharpshooter.
Yeah, sharp focus shooter. Okay.
Oh, you just got it.
Oh, the slow. I gotcha. So yes, that would be an awesome outcome for the Blazers if Scoot's there and you really, really want to trade the pick, right? I have conducted a trade here that I think we need to go over. And I've got a couple different trades. I've got one if we're going all in with Dame. I've got one if we're doing what the Blazers always do and just make more middle moves. And then I have one where if the Blazers decide to blow it up, what it might look like or what I would want to see. So
did you guys see Scoot's Slam magazine cover? Boy is shredded. He was
drafting him.
He was shirtless in the duster in the picture, and yeah, dude is fucking jacked. I was like, okay.
I'm telling you, he is going to be really good, and him and Sharp would be the most athletic, explosive backcourt. If we're looking to rebuild, you couldn't ask for a better young core than Sharp and Scoot.
I think the thing that would excite me the most is if we could get Brandon Miller, because I think that would be best for Dame. I think that Dame, Shaedon, Brandon Miller, Jeremy Grant, and if we could try to upgrade the 5. I know that's young, and we've argued about this many times, the overlapping
window
fiasco. I just don't really care about that all that much. I think that could be a really exciting team to watch.
Well, let's do that then. Let's talk let's do my middle ground trade first, because that is actually a center upgrade. So let's start with that, and I'll share my screen and let you guys see what you think about it. So starting off, I want to tell everybody watching this, the first round picks or draft pick compensation are not shown on these trades. So when you see a trade and say, what? No, that's an overpay or that's an underpay or what are we doing?
So stupid.
The picks aren't there. There.
There's no picks. What do you?
So
why would we? It doesn't make any sense.
I know that's what people might say.
Overpay.
Let's avoid that and start off with this trade. So
what? Why would we give up? What? Come on, man. That's a terrible trade.
So let's break this trade down.
Take it away.
Well, like you said, Riley, the lineup, if let's just say Brandon Miller's sitting there, number 3. You can already see Ayton's on the Blazers. Okay, I've mocked this a couple times now, but I think it's more likely than ever. Ayton is not worth the number 3 overall pick. He's at his probably lowest value he's had in a while. So here's what I'm thinking. The Blazers need to get younger at center. They need to get more athletic. The lineup you mentioned where we have Dame, Sharp, Brandon Miller, Grant, and then that center upgrade. So we acquire DeAndre Ayton. The Mavericks are in here specifically because they need a center upgrade badly. I don't know if Phoenix wants Nurkic. I'm not sure if they want Nurkic. If they do, if they're okay with going to Nurkic, I would be okay with, just taking Dallas out of here and we could make a different trade work. but I put Dallas on here because they're desperate for a center. They've been starting Dwight Powell, they need a center regardless of who it is. Nurkic could provide that for Dallas. And then we would be sending Simons over to Phoenix, which some people would say, oh, that's an overpay. Well, we're balancing the roster. This is what it looks like. You're giving up, you got to give up something to get some athleticism and a younger player on the other end of the deal. So Phoenix gets Simons out of the deal, which I think that Phoenix would honestly be happy with it just because they're tired of Ayton. Dallas sends them JaVale McGee as the stopgap, but I'm sure they would be able to pick up another center, but he's a cheap center for them. And then we got salary kind of for Theo Pinson here. And then finally on the Blazers also pick up Reggie Bullock because, it's argued that they're giving up one of the, the best assets here with Simons. So they get Bullock as well, and Bullock can fill in as like a shooter coming off the bench. I think it's a good depth piece. If one of the teams wants a first out of it, the Blazers could send the 23rd overall pick to kind of just slot everything together. But what do you guys think of that?
So there's no picks being swapped here?
I would say the 23rd overall pick could be swapped to either team, depending on how much Phoenix values Simons. If they don't value him enough, you could send the 23rd. If Dallas doesn't want to give up, Dallas isn't giving up a lot to get a center. So if Phoenix wants the 23rd pick, they could probably have it unless we're trying to send that to Chicago.
But not
that's
the
kind of
number
only
3
pick in my mind that moves in this deal.
Yeah, not the number 3.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, I'm not sure, Ayton, I don't know how much he's going to move the needle for Portland. He would solidify the roster for sure, but I like the move just because of the roster balancing aspect of it. We obviously need to make a move to get rid of Simons to bring Sharp in. Nurkic isn't giving us crap the last couple of years. I would probably take this deal, actually. I think, Ayton, at least he plays. He's there for most of the games. And he's obviously had some struggles the last couple of years in Phoenix, but maybe a change of scenery would do him some good.
Yep.
That's my exact thinking, is that I think Ayton is better than he's been playing the last couple of years. I think there's some interesting mental stuff going on with the fit in Phoenix. I don't think that it's been a very positive environment for him, is kind of the feeling I get. And I think that Dallas might like this trade quite a bit too. I could see Nurkic being a really good fit for Luka, honestly. I could see that being a really good combination for them. Kind of that slower pick and roll, just really beating guys down, that could actually be kind of fun to watch. So I could see that for them. I would take the deal for the roster balancing to let Simons move on, because that needs to happen. Phoenix, they need probably someone decent to be backing up Chris Paul, and potentially taking over for Chris Paul.
Yeah, that's my biggest question mark about this trade, is the Phoenix aspect of it. I think that they, I could see them moving on from Ayton at this point. Last year, I didn't see it happening. You guys did. And obviously they signed him to the extension and played him this year, but I could see them wanting to move on from him. But I don't necessarily really see the fit of, if they're bringing back Chris Paul, obviously Devin Booker and KD. It's not like they need more offense. It's not like they need more, obviously shooters are nice to have, but we know damn well that Simons is not an off the ball type of shooter. He's a ball in his hands kind of scorer, which, that's all that KD and Devin Booker bring to the table, really. So I don't know if it really makes a lot of sense for Phoenix.
I would argue that, Simon's numbers show that as a catch and shoot, he's elite. If you look up his stats, he's a lights out catch and shoot player. So maybe it didn't work with Dame. You're right, but we saw in the playoffs, Phoenix, when it wasn't Devin Booker or Kevin Durant, they needed help somehow, some way with scoring. So, Devin Booker helped win them a couple games just from shooting about 80% from the field. That's not sustainable or realistic. I think they need more depth pieces. They could say, hey, Simons, we need you as the sixth man. And I bet you, he comes into a new team with Kevin Durant and Devin Booker on it. I doubt he's going to argue, but maybe he would.
It is it is like $100 million sixth man though. He's an expensive guy to bring in as like a a role player off the bench for them.
Look at Jordan Poole. Jordan Poole did it coming off the bench.
Didn't really work out for him very well though.
He's making more than Ant. Look at Tyler Hero, like those type of players. Look at Tyrese Maxey. He came off the bench for a lot of this year. They all similar players on similar deals. So
I like the deal for Portland. For Phoenix, I think they're probably going to be, if they're going to move on from Ayton, they're looking for more size rather than more, guards. But I like the deal for Portland.
it could be. And if Phoenix wants a centered in the deal and likes Nurkic enough, take Dallas out of the deal. But Dallas is just in here because if Phoenix doesn't like Nurkic's contract, you move him to Dallas, and Dallas doesn't have to give up a lot, but then Nurkic's contract. So that's kind of how that all broke down. So that's kind of if we just draft the player and we keep the pick and we keep Dame, we keep doing the things that we're doing, how are we going to upgrade the roster? Well, this is kind of an idea of how to upgrade the roster. Some people haven't been liking how Ayton's been playing, but let me just tell you this. Yusuf Nurkic has never been healthy for a playoff series win since he's been on the Blazers.
That's insane.
Ayton
Wow.
has been to the finals, was 2 wins away, and was the third best player on that team at that time. So I'm going to go with the guy that's actually done it more than once, and more than one, been a part of more than one series win. So that's my thoughts on this one.
I think Dame and Ayton could be elite. It's not a guaranteed thing because Ayton has shown ups and downs, but they could be elite. And you've got some other really good pieces growing around them too. So, yep, I'd be all for it if we could get Phoenix on board.
The thing with the last thing I'll say with Ayton, he's 24. So he straddles 2 different timelines. He can come in and play right now when Dame is old and moves on. Sharp, Brandon Miller, Ayton. Okay, they're all going to be young still and health and athletic. I think that's an awesome move, and I think that if the Blazers can do it, they should. So that's the one move that we go in the middle. Would you guys prefer the go all in with Dame or the rebuild trade first? Because I have one of each.
Riley, what do you?
Let's look at the go all in with Dame.
Okay.
I know that's what Riley's on board for.
This one is probably the easiest one and the one that people have been rumbling about out of all these trades.
Hold up real quick. Yesterday I asked Riley if you would trade Dame for Giannis straight across, and he said no. That's loyalty right there. That's loyalty to your guy.
Loyal to the soil.
That's Riley's whole basketball fandom in a nutshell right there.
Loyal to the soil. Well, you're gonna love my rebuild trade then. Not. Okay, so look at this one. This is a pretty standard
I'm taking
trade.
that deal. I'm taking that deal.
But okay, yes. So hear me out. This is going to be expensive. This is not just going to be, Simons, Nurk, Sharp. It's going to be the 3rd overall pick. A pick every other year plus pick swaps. I could see it being the 3rd pick plus, 2 other firsts and 2 pick swaps. So, would you guys be willing to mortgage the whole future? If this, by the way, this is based on the fact that Harden leaves to Houston. Harden leaving to Houston is the key to both of my trades on either side because there's so much chatter that Harden wants out of Philadelphia. There's just so much of it that he wants to go back to Houston that if Harden leaves and Joel was really mad that they fired Doc Rivers for whatever reason, this might be on the table.
You talk about elite Dame and Embiid, man, that is instant contender. Embiid's, other than Jimmy, he's never had a guy like Dame on his team with that kind of, mentality and the soul snatching mentality that Dame has. Yeah, they would be elite.
Yeah. It's hard to look at giving up Shaedon and the number 3 pick. Yeah, that's rough, but yeah, I would do it. I would do it for just a couple years of Dame and Embiid. honestly, because I think they could get it done. And maybe not the first year, but then you'd start attracting ring chasers, and you could get 3 or 4 other really solid pieces around them, and a Damon Embiid core with a couple ring chasers around them. That I would mortgage the whole future of the team to give Dame that kind of shot at a title.
This is a haul for Philadelphia too. They get a lot of young talent. A total, I mean, they definitely get a full rebuild with this trade. I still don't know if they do it. It's crazy to trade the MVP, a guy that's so established already in the heart and soul of the city, or I don't know, maybe not the heart and soul might not be a great term, but the very talented part of the city. But I mean, I don't know if they're really going to be able to find if they did want to move on from him. I don't know if they'd be able to find a much better haul of young players and picks than this. It's a lot.
Yeah, exactly. You just nailed it. So, you can look through fans online, whatever they want. Philadelphia fans are starting to get annoyed that they're not getting out of the second round. Joel Embiid is the only MVP in NBA history to never make it out of the second round. Okay, so yes, he just won MVP. Like I said, this hinges on a lot of things. Harden has to leave. If Harden leaves, look at Philadelphia's asset pool to kind of get help for Embiid. They don't have a lot. They gave up picks to get Harden. They're kind of sitting there with not a lot of assets. Basically, what they'd have to do is wait one more year until Tobias Harris expires. Are they just going to have a year where they do nothing to improve their roster?
Tobias Harris over me?
Yeah.
Tobias Harris over me?
They could have had 3 rings by now if they would have kept Jimmy, right? But
stupidest move in recent memory for the NBA, giving up Jimmy Butler for Tobias Harris.
Stupid. But this move scares me because Embiid is injury prone. Dame, he's playing well, but if he falls off in 2 years, you don't have a lot to restock the cupboard, so you better win with this duo. Philadelphia gets a 3rd overall pick, which is more value than a lot of first picks in the future, plus more first round picks, plus Sharp. I think there's not a lot of better packages in the league where Embiid would realistically go that would give him a player to play with that they would want all the pieces back if they're going to rebuild. So
OKC could probably put together a deal, but there's not many.
OKC could, you're right. And I mean, but that they could for anybody. So you could sit up for any player on any team. If OKC wants them, they'll get them. But Joel and Dame are close. Joel might, Dame's talked about, actually name dropped him on Twitter not long ago, saying that they were close. So I'm just saying this is something that if they want to go all in on Dame, not 1 foot in, 1 foot out, then this is what you would do right here. It would scare me just because Embiid's health, but this would be the way to go all in. And I think Philadelphia gets a lot back for Embiid, which rightfully so, because he's the MVP. So nice that you would take this. So in a perfect world,
let's see the rebuild trade, man. Bring it on.
In a perfect world, we would acquire the MVP, right? This is the opposite of that. This happens when we have the 3rd overall pick and Scoot's there. And Dame doesn't want to play with Scoot, but all we're getting offers for is crap. Okay. So we say, Dame, sorry, but we're going to keep the 3rd overall pick because Scoot is basically number 1 overall pick in most drafts. Before I click this, remember there's picks involved. Okay. So how do we send Dame to a contender? And
I'm on the edge of my seat right now, man. You got me.
All right. Here we go. So Jaylen Brown, there's a lot of chatter right now that Celtics might not be willing to pay both Tatum and Jaylen Brown the Supermax.
Peyton Pritchard, what?
Jaylen Brown qualifies for the Supermax, but I don't know if Boston wants to pay 2 players the Supermax when Jaylen Brown hasn't helped get them over the hump. So there's rumblings that he's not happy there either. So Houston would be acquiring Jaylen Brown in this. Dame would be going to Boston with Tatum to get to win a ring, basically. Doing what Dame would want, getting him to a winner. And then they've got salary. And then you look at what the Blazers are getting. Okay. Robert Williams, young
Time
center,
Lord.
Time Lord. Jabari Smith, number 3 overall pick last year. He turned it on at the end of the year. He played really, really well. You know, like I said, 3rd overall pick from last season. Tari Eason, he made the all-rookie team. He's a great, you know, good defender already, but he was really good last year as well. And then you've got, you know, Oregon's own Peyton Pritchard, right? Everybody loves Peyton Pritchard.
Quack.
Kevin Porter Jr., he's just kind of a throw in there to make salaries match. It was kind of hard to get the salaries right on this one. But so you're looking at the headline of the package, Jabari Smith and Tari Eason. You're also getting the 4th overall pick in this draft this year. So we would have the 3rd overall pick and the 4th overall pick. Houston also has their 1st round picks in the future and Brooklyn's from the original James Harden trade. So you can try and haggle them and get more picks out of it. But I think that a package coming back of Jabari Smith, Tari Eason, and the 4th overall pick, and maybe a future 1st or 2 after that is amazing. And you're still sending Dame to a place he can win, because Dame's not going to want to go to a rebuilding team. So how are you going to find a deal that gets Dame to a rebuild or to a team that can win and get picks back? Also, this is also reliant on Harden coming back, because Houston has said that they want Harden back. And Houston has also, there's been rumblings that Houston wants to use the 4th overall pick to get established talent. So it kind of all fits together. Houston gets a pet player to pair with Harden. Blazers get the 4th overall pick and rookies and maybe future firsts. 4th overall pick's can be a really good player. Boston gets Dame. Dame goes to a place where he can win.
I like the trade. I mean, if you're gonna move on from Dame, it's a lot that you're getting back. A little bit of a side tangent. What the hell is Houston doing? I really don't understand their motivations in trying to get Harden and establish talent. I mean, they have a young core. They're in the rebuild process. Just lean into the rebuild. You got picks. You got young guys. Allow it to, you know, mature and by itself. It seems like that's a suicide mission to try to bring back Harden on a team, you know, with the youth and talent that they do. It's not like he's a great culture guy or anything that you're bringing in, and you're gonna have to pay top dollar for him. It's a weird strategy by Houston. I don't really know if they're actually gonna do it. We'll see. But yeah, as far as from a Portland side of things, I don't know. I can't really ask for can't think of, you know, anything that I'd want more than what we're getting. A bunch of young guys, a bunch of picks. That's basically what you're getting with if you're gonna give up Dame. And, you know, some form of this is probably what you're gonna do, what you're gonna get if you're trading him.
Yeah, I mean, I think you did a pretty good job, you know, putting together a reasonable package. It, you know, going off of what Kirby just said, I mean, it requires Houston to have a complete mental collapse, because it's just, it doesn't make any sense at all. I mean, James Harden and Jaylen Brown with, you know, losing all these rookies and future talent, that's not like a championship team. And, you know, Jaylen Brown, what is he's shown us exactly what he can do the last few games, and James Harden did too, and he got knocked out of the 2nd round. So I mean, neither one of those guys are really, I think, going to pull in like ring chasers. Neither one of those guys is a championship leader on a team. It would be suicide by the Houston Rockets, like Kirby said. But if that is what they're doing, having a complete mental breakdown, you know, and we're trying to capitalize on that, I mean, I wouldn't do this trade unless Dame wanted out, you know. If Damian Lillard says, I'm not into it and I'm out, and this is the best we can do, that's a rebuild. I don't know if I'd exactly be a fan of this team anytime soon, you know? Like, I mean, who are these guys? It wouldn't be that exciting as a Blazer fan for me. But you know, if Dame wants out and he wants to go win somewhere else, that's a haul.
Yeah, so really
Scoot. I was just gonna say Scoot, Shaden, the number 3 and 4 picks, Time Lord, Smith.
Well, Scoot would be the third pick in this scenario. So Scoot, Shaden,
Yeah. True.
the
You're right.
fourth pick,
That'd be exciting though. That'd be a
and
lot of young
Jabari
talent.
Smith.
That'd be a lot of young talent. And I mean, like you said already, I believe, like Scoot and Shaden would be an explosive backcourt. Then you
And
add
then
in
a
one of those,
Thompson,
or one of those forwards like Walker
Jarris
or
Walker, exactly. Then you've got all those positions filled. Jabari Smith, like I said, was the third pick last year, and he
I
turned it
guess
on.
you'd probably try to find because Anthony Simons isn't involved in this either, so you'd probably try to trade him away for picks or another maybe a young big guy somewhere.
Exactly. So
Shin
but
Goodman
for
or
more
something
on
like that.
Houston, how I've structured this, Houston could give us these young assets and still have enough to get maybe like Mikal Bridges, because Houston has Brooklyn's picks. So Houston can send some of Brooklyn's picks back. They also, in this trade, still have Sengun, which he's their center that they're really high on. So he slots in at the center spot. If they can go use the rest of their assets, the rest of their picks, and get a forward, now you're cooking, because then you got Harden, Jaylen Brown, Sengun, and whatever they can get with their picks, the rest of their picks. So I don't
know if cooking's the right term. Mediocrely hot maybe, but
have you know who their owner is, right? He's cheap,
simmering.
and he wants.
Is he? He just bought them, didn't he?
Yeah, but trust me, he's a cheap owner. He wants butts in seats. Nobody goes to see the Houston Rockets, especially right now. Even when Harden was in his prime, they couldn't get a lot of seats. So
why is he paying top dollar for Harden then if he's cheap and Harden's not drawing tickets?
Well, Harden would draw tickets coming back, the return of Harden.
I don't know. Like me and Riley have both said, it seems like a suicide mission for Houston if they do that, though. I mean, I feel like the big winner in this is Boston. Dame and Tatum would be a duo.
Yeah, they would be, and the Blazers would have an exciting young core, with the third and fourth pick added.
Just Boston and Portland fleecing the Rockets to make both of their teams like a full rebuild and a contender.
Jaylen Brown was second team All NBA this year.
That sounds like
a really good year.
That sounds like traditionally the Blazers have been on the not so much, I guess. Actually, they don't get fleeced very often. But if Charlotte was in on this, it'd make more sense, maybe.
I mean, Houston has apparently made it apparent that they're considering this. I mean, they are apparently open to this James Harden disaster. So it doesn't make any sense. It's like I said, it's a mental breakdown, but it seems to be a mental breakdown they might be having. So
I'm just saying, look at all the places that Dame would want to go. Like if we do trade Dame, he would want to go to a contender. I would not want to trade him to like the Knicks or something and get all their garbage. I would not want to trade him to a lot of the contenders wouldn't have enticing young players for the Blazers. So in this trade, Dame gets to go to a contender, and
the one that I've heard of them talk about a couple teams are Brooklyn and Philadelphia, and I don't really see a package that's exciting from either one of those teams either. It's like they're both struggling with picks. They're both don't have any really elite young guys. Yeah, I would definitely balk at trading him for like a Maxey centered package or a Mikal Bridges centered package. That doesn't work for me.
Exactly, or even less than Mikal Bridges, because Dame would want to play with Mikal Bridges.
Yeah, it's true. Like if you're gutting the team to get Dame, what are you doing? You're not establishing anything. So it does make sense as far as the three teams. You got to bring in a team with young talent that wants an established player. You got to have a team that already has an established player, getting rid of him to really make the deal work. And in that case, it's sort of, there's just going to be a team that loses this trade, regardless of who it is exactly.
Yeah. I don't know. My goal would be to win with Dame. I really still don't like the two timelines crap that we've been doing for this time. And Simons needs to go one way or the other. Obviously, like you said, Simons could go out in a separate deal after this. But if we have to blow it up, if we have to because we need to draft and people aren't offering a great deal for that third pick, I would look at Houston because Houston has done questionable things and it looks like they're about to do more questionable things. And I want some of the young players from Houston. That's where I would look to get young players from if we have to.
Give us all your players, Houston. Give us all your players. Do you guys want to talk about the playoffs for a few minutes before we sign off? We got time?
Yeah.
Sure.
All right, close out of this, Colton. Get
Oh,
this
yeah.
out.
You already know.
All right, so right now the Nuggets and Lakers playing game 4. Lakers up 29-22 in the first quarter, about a minute left, but 3-0 lead. Both the East and the West, 3-0 leads. Is history going to be made? Is there going to be the first ever 3-0 comeback, or are we looking at a Denver-Miami finals?
Denver-Miami finals. I'm here for it.
Yeah,
That's gonna be a really fun finals. I don't know who I'm gonna be rooting for, honestly. My gut tells me that I'm gonna be rooting for Denver because I've kind of had them as a high pick for a long time. And I like Jokic. I like the way they play. I like the way they're coached. But man, if Miami goes in there with that infectious energy that they've had so far, and Jimmy's playing like that, just grabbing steals out of the air and getting all fired up, it might be hard not to root for them a little bit. So it would be a fun series.
Both teams red hot. I mean, obviously they got all the momentum in the world on their side. So it'd be a clash of just two strong wills going at it. A few things I'll mention, Colton, and then I'll let you give your take. Jokic and Bam, that'd be a heck of a matchup. Bam has been pretty dominant the last few series in particular, but Jokic obviously a totally different animal. And it seems like Bam has struggled against really big kind of Zach Randolph type of players that really body you up and get physical, and that's definitely Jokic has got a lot of that. So that'd be a matchup to look out for. And then just all of the size and all of the wings that Denver can throw at Jimmy. Bruce Brown, Caldwell Pope, Jeff Green, Aaron Gordon. They got a lot of bodies that they could throw at him to try to wear him down. So those are kind of my two things that I would be looking for in that series.
If Miami can close this out, that's the best thing that could happen in a sweep. To get the rest. Both teams will get rest, but this will allow Jimmy Butler's ankle to heal because he's still kind of had some issues with that ankle, and just give them a fresh reset. And I've learned to never doubt Jimmy Butler. So
apparently,
I picked them to win against the Celtics, right? So that's looking good, but I know it's a tough task to overcome Denver and Jokic, the beast of Jokic, but wouldn't that be crazy if an 8 seed won the championship? An 8
Has that ever happened?
Parity. I don't think so.
No.
Yeah.
I don't think an 8 seed's ever even been to the finals.
I think the Knicks were maybe an 8 seed that went to the finals in like 1999.
Oh, and lost to San Antonio. Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah, I really would be a fan of both teams. I've picked against Miami every single round this series, and they've proven me wrong every single time. So this time, I'm picking against them again. I still got Denver. I think it's too deep, too loaded, too much size. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you next time. See ya.
Bye.